Described by some as a future president of the United States, Newark, New Jersey Mayor Cory spoke to the Open Visions Forum at Fairfield University Wednesday evening. We had a chance to sit down with the mayor in an exclusive interview. Mr. Mayor, during the elections that just happened, you said that you would unequivocally stay in Newark and seek re-election in 2010.
Yes.
While many kind of speculating that you would be tapped by President Obama to go down to Washington, was there ever a point where you were thinking that you would make the trek down to D.C.?
No, I think that life, you've got to be focused on what's important to you, and it's much more important in life to have a purpose and not seek a position. And my purpose is Newark, New Jersey, and I want to stay true to that. Even though you can do things in D.C. that would help Newark, I knew as mayor I could make a much bigger impact.
Sure. Now, what is it about Newark? Why do you think that it's going to become this almost city upon a hill, this kind of hope for all the other U.S. cities? What is it specifically about Newark?
Well, I think, first of all, it's a special place because of its people. And I think Newarkers, I always call us, the nickname for Newark is Brick City. And I always say that we're called Brick City not because of the architecture, which is what people often say, but because of the people. They're tough, they're strong, they're resilient, they're enduring. And when people come together, there's nothing they can't create. And I've been in Newark long enough now, almost 15 years, to see miracles happen, to see things that other people wouldn't expect to transpire. And it gives me just tremendous hope for what we can accomplish there, and I want to be a part of it.
So since you've entered office, what do you think the major lasting accomplishments have been thus far?
Well, the biggest thing I think that's getting us national attention is a dramatic reduction in violent crime and murders and shootings in particular. But I think if anybody takes a little closer look, they see that we've been very innovative on tackling enduring problems, from people coming home from prison and how do you help them integrate so they don't go back, because recidivism rates nationally are more than 50%. From urban education, how do we create success, models of excellence, and we've done a lot of things there. From even more recently dealing with the healthcare crisis. People are saying, well, we've got to have a national solution. I still believe that, but we're finding local solutions to empower our people. So I think what's making Newark unique these days is how innovative we're being in confronting the problems and the challenges before us.
Right. With all those issues, what would you say is your toughest issue that you face?
You know, I always say the toughest issue will always be, whether it's in Newark or New Jersey or the United States of America, not the tangible things. How are we going to fix our economy? How are we going to build better schools? But it's more of a spiritual challenge. I think that Americans and humanity in general has an infinite reservoir of potential and strength and ability. So it's often just the spiritual challenge of accomplishing that. I often tell the story about the first person to break the 4-minute mile, which was seemed to be a physically impossible barrier. And this guy named Benjamin Bannister, if I remember his name correctly, when he broke that 4-minute mile, suddenly people all over the globe, dozens of them, began breaking the 4-minute mile. It wasn't an issue of physical barrier, it was an issue of a spiritual barrier, a belief in what we can become. And I think Americans too often are having a short vision for who we are, as opposed to having a larger, bolder vision that compels us to bold, consistent actions.
What long-term goals do you think you can accomplish in the first that you really need the second term to do?
You know, I think that there's a lot of things structurally with the city budget. I think that we have a time right now with the bad economy that governments all over the country, from the federal to the state to local governments, are in shambles. I'd like to get, I think it's going to take me another 4 years to get the budget to where it's whole and where I could pass on the city in a financially whole sense. A lot of development projects have slowed down because of the economy. Things I know we could build, new buildings in the city of Newark to bring new jobs. A lot of that's not going to happen as quickly as I wanted it to happen. So there are definitely some things that I think will take time, but I'm also a big believer, and hopefully we've shown people in Newark and outside of the country that you can make dramatic short-term change in a way that builds tremendous momentum to challenging people's beliefs in what is possible.
So let's discuss the economy for a minute. I think last I read was Newark's unemployment rate is around 10%,
Yes.
and we're losing about 650,000 jobs in the U.S. each month. How exactly are you responding to the economic situation we're in on a local level?
Well, again, and I say this on every issue we bring up. Anybody who thinks there's a quick fix to these problems is wrong. If it's a quick fix, we would have done it a long time ago. And there's never one solution. There's never one answer to our problems. You often have to bring a lot of things to bear. So we've created a grassroots financial empowerment menu of things, from focusing on the earned income tax credit, because most cities in America leave money on the table for one of the best anti-poverty programs the federal government has, literally millions of dollars, and we've doubled the amount of money we're getting back just through our aggressive campaign of Free Tax Center and City Hall. We've partnered with foundations to create something something called IDAs, individual development accounts, that will match people's savings to get people more in disciplined, focused savings in the city of Newark. We've started businesses where banks are not lending. We've created a minority and small business and woman-run loan fund in the city of Newark, and we made over $1 million of loans last year to start a number of businesses. We're focusing on job creation and attracting companies to the city of Newark and having a lot of success with that. So, every day you get up, you know what's important to you. For me, it's crime, crime, crime. Then it's the economic empowerment, children and families, and you stay focused on what's important and you keep trying to drive towards real achievable measures on all those things.
Sure, but now with the deficit, there needs to be some way to kind of fill that gap, and usually the solution is either taxes or cutting jobs.
Right.
How are you kind of juggling both of those?
Well, we've been pretty consistent, in not raising taxes the last couple of years. I can't say that this coming budget will be able to avoid that. We've reduced the size of government, as I think we should have. Newark has had a very large government. We're trying to make it meaner and leaner. But at the same time, we're trying to think of creative ways to bring new revenue into our city, to increase the amount of money we collect in parking tax or payroll tax, by attracting more businesses that can expand our tax base. Because ultimately, I believe the way that we're going to get out of this problem as a government is by creating more wealth in our city, not doing things to undermine wealth creation like taxing often is.
And do you worry sometimes if you are forced to raise the taxes that it'll kind of drive away some of those
Absolutely.
businesses?
I think that's the truth. In fact, I'd love to get rid of more taxes in the city of Newark. I think that taxes often inhibit growth, and you see that through programs like urban enterprise zones, which give some tax benefits and relief. We just recently passed a great law in our state to give more tax incentives to people to come into the city of Newark. People are very rational economic actors, and companies really do look at the bottom line based upon where they're going to go. And new companies starting off, if they have heavy tax burdens or heavy expenses, they're not going to be able to flourish. So I really do believe, as said from our very early days of the United States Supreme Court, the power to tax is the power to kill, and we should be very judicious with how we use it.
And now, do you see illegal immigration as a problem in terms of the economy in Newark? Do you think it affects the economy negatively?
I think that's an important debate, and we need to really start doing a better analysis. And you hear very strong arguments on both sides. It's not an issue that I'm focused on every single day. Reality is, the issues I'm focused on are trying to create opportunity for people that are in the city of Newark and people who are citizens of the United States. But at the same time, I'm not going to create a draconian city like I've seen other mayors, especially some out west, where you're creating a police state and you're in some ways, I think, abusing the rights of immigrants that are legally even within our city. So I'm not right now believing in my heart that focusing on immigration is going to be a solution to our challenges, or is the immigration issue undermining our ability to create success in Newark.
And just wrapping up, I know there's a quote from Steve Adubato who says that no mayor of Newark ever went beyond mayor. They either go to jail or oblivion. Does that worry you at all?
No. You learn from the past, and it's important to know your history and know from whence you've come. But my eyes are on the future, and I know if I keep my eyes on Newark, on what Newark can become, on serving the city with my measure of sacrifice and commitment, that all is going to be all right. And I have a very strong moral compass, and I have people around me that help support me in not only my values and my ideals, but also in getting things done. I think that we're going to do a great job in the city of Newark. And the next step, for me personally, should I go, hopefully I won't be the mayor of Newark forever. I think that's bad. I think the next step is going to take care of itself.